Welcome everybody to another lesson of Excel. This is part 2 of Introduction to Excel Spreadsheets. And what we're going to be doing in this lesson is just quickly looking at ways how we can format and edit those cells, the text, just how you present a spreadsheet in general. So whereas the last lesson we looked at the Excel interface and how the different parts of what we're looking at, selecting the cells, cell addresses, the menus, and how to use the autofill tool. In this lesson, we're going to focus on presentation. So as usual, if you make notes by pausing this video from time to time, that would be great. Let's take a look at the objectives. So understand the importance of why we emphasize the look of a spreadsheet by formatting text and cells. Format numbers and remove or add columns and rows in a worksheet to add or remove information. So you may want to add records in a spreadsheet and remove them at the same time. And apply learning by using these tools in a task. Okay, so when working with objects like text and cells, format just means to add features or style to improve the presentation, the readability, or conform to a standard that everyone in your organization uses. And formatting numbers just means that you can change the number type to one that you can work with or one that is preferable. So while we're looking at formatting our cells and our text, we will also look at numbers and number types and how we can do that as well. So when you select some cells, when you click and drag, you have the option of applying color and borders to those cells. So you have the option of applying a font type, an alignment to your cells. So you can see this text says align in the middle. I've got my Calibri font type just to make things look better. I have the option of formatting data into a range of currencies, decimals, and percentages. And these numbers here are simply formatted as a currency. Before they were just a number, but I turned it into a currency to make it easier to read. Okay, so this is what we're going to look at. So let's have a look. So we're going to kick off with editing data, and very quickly, we're not going to spend much time on this. We just want to just talk about all applications. You need to understand the basic editing routines of cut, copy, and paste, which is very important. Okay, so remember that cut removes data for placing it somewhere else. Copy copies the data, leaving a copy behind for placing somewhere else. And the paste command puts your data or copy data at your specified location. Okay, so what I'll do very quickly is we want to cut and paste our grand total into A7 because we just need to move it there because it's a bit better. So we right click into it and just do cut. And you see the matching ants comes around the box. And we click into where we want it to go, A7, click in the box, and right click, paste. Okay, and that is how we can cut and move things around. Of course, you can just quickly go ahead and write stuff in your cells. So if I was selling peaches, I can just type in peaches, okay? So basic data entry, don't be afraid to just click in your cell and start typing in some numbers and so forth, okay? We also looked in that first video how we can also move these cells by clicking onto the border and just click and drag in, and we can move it that way as well. Okay. Okay, so let's look at formatting text. We want to format our text to present our data, make it look better, make it look more enticing. So if we look at the top left-hand side here, we can see to change the font style. You can see where the arrow points to, where you got all your different font types. You can make it bold, italic, or underline. You can add a fill color to your cells itself or to the background. You can change the text color. So all this stuff is pretty much the same as you would do in word processing. Basically, it's the same sort of thing. Okay, so let's have a quick look at some of those tools that we can format our text in. So we just want to make this text here look a bit different, a bit better. What we can do is click onto the text itself. We can click on, we can give it a font type. We can choose a different font type. That's fine. We can change the color. We can go into the font color tool, make it dark red. We can make it bold. We can make it italic. Okay. And we can even underline it if we want to. All right. We can make it bigger, increase and decrease the font sizes. All right. And what we can do is these labels here that represent our data, we can make them bold as well. Okay. And so we've emphasized this data here. And so remember, whenever you're working with your spreadsheet, make sure that you go ahead and change the different features of your text to emphasize them. We're going to look at how we could format the actual cells themselves, because it goes together. Your borders and shading and also font colors go together as well. So when we are formatting our cells, all right, we're altering the presentation to highlight that presentation. Okay, so when we are formatting cells, we're looking at these two tools here, the borders and the shading tool. So borders will add inside and outside lines to your cells, and the fill tool will add a background fill color to your cells, and they go hand in hand. So if you look at this before and after, you'll see that when you select our cells, we can see the before and after images. All right, we've added borders and shading to this one here. So this one here looks a lot better. So let's have a quick look and apply this to our spreadsheet. So here's our spreadsheet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all my data, and I'm going to add borders to it. I'm going to add an inside and an outside border. So I'm going to go over here to my font group and click on my borders drop-down box. Okay, I'm going to choose the one that says all borders, because that's going to give me inside and outside. And my information comes up like this. I'm going to highlight my number 2 row, and I'm going to give that a lovely dark red fill background color. And I can even change the text to white. So don't be afraid to experiment with this to make it look better. But the golden rule is that if you are reading information from left to right, which we are here, so you can see that my eyes are going from left to right. There's an order date, an area, and so on. We're going from a left to right manner. You should format your work going from a left to right fashion. Okay, and we can even highlight these values, and we can give it a slightly softer appearance like this. So we're flowing from left to right. Now, if you're one of my learners doing the exams, okay, this is very important, because if you highlight these by going down in columns in this way, you're making it look like a rainbow. You will lose marks for that, because the information isn't going down in columns, it's going across in rows. So that's a definite no-no. Okay, so I hope you guys understand all that. This is how we format our spreadsheets using a combination of borders, fill background colors, text styles, and font colors. Okay, so we're going to talk about that objective, about how we edit our worksheet, how do we insert records, how we delete records. And that means we need to know how to add and remove columns and rows. So we're going to have a quick look at inserting rows and columns in our spreadsheet. Okay, now it's worth mentioning that when you want to insert a row in a spreadsheet, it always appears above your highlighted row. Okay, so if you look here on the left hand side, you have to right click on the row that you want to insert above, and you will get this menu option, and you click on insert. Okay, so the insert command in the cells group on the home tab will appear. Okay, so let's have a quick look at that. So let's say I wanted to include a new sales rep just above Jillian in row 8. What I need to do is click on the row after that one, row 9, right click row 9, and then click on insert. Then a new row appears above my selected row, and then I can go ahead and add a date on that one, and I can make that one could be East London, and so on. Okay, so that is how we can insert those sort of options on there. If you needed to add a new column as well, so if we wanted a new label to go between item and units, we need to click on the column after the one we want. So if we want to put one on the left here, we right click the E column, click on insert, and a new column appears here. Okay, and that is how you can edit your worksheet, add rows and columns, and deleting them. It's just a reverse process. Right click on the column you want to delete and click on delete, and we can do that for number 9 as well. Just right click it and delete. Okay, so don't forget that if you need to insert a row, always highlight the row after where it's going to go, and it will appear just above. And finally, we're going to have a talk about formatting numbers. This one, it's really just a case of just going into your numbers group and formatting your numbers. So if you look here, the number tab on your home menu, this drop down group here, this drop down list is where you can select all your options of currency, percentages, dates. Okay, and you just need to go to your number tab to do that. But you also have options to increase or decrease your decimal numbers. And so what we mean by when we say formatting numbers, we just mean we're changing that number into another type that we can work with. Okay, so for example, if I in A1, if I typed in the number 23 in there, and let's have a quick look at the ways we can edit this information or format this number. What we can do is click on the A1 cell address and go over to your number group over here, and just click on that drop down list. Now we can turn it into a currency, and you can see what currency does is that it gives it a currency symbol and 2 decimal places automatically. Now we can go ahead and increase or decrease the decimal numbers. We just need to go over to our increase and decrease options here. So you can see here I can increase or decrease my decimal places, and you know there are some examples where you'll need to use this too for that purpose. We can go ahead and change it back to a number, and we can decrease the decimals. We can change that into a percentage. Okay. Now it comes up as 2300% because, as we all know, one represents 100 parts. One is the whole. So 23 times 100 is 2300. So if you wanted to represent a percentage in Excel, you have to give it the decimal format, which is 0.23. Because remember that percentages, decimals, and fractions are not meant to exceed 1. So if we wanted to work out 23% of something, we would need that to be 0.23. So if I wanted to work out what is 23% of 500, what I can do is create a formula to times 500 by, this is a bit of maths going on here, by 0.23, and it will tell me that 23% is 115. But if I try to do it to 2300%, we'll get a big number. Okay, it won't be representative of what a percentage should be. Okay, so that is what we looked at. We looked at numbers. We looked at how we can format a number as currency. We can take away and add decimal places. We can format numbers as percentages. We can turn it into decimals. There is an option here to also specify dates. Now, when you create a date for in Excel, it just changes it completely into a date format, so that one that the computer can work with and increase in that way. Okay, so the main thing that you should take from this is that whatever your number is, just head over to your number group and you can specify your number types. Okay, and yeah, so I think also there's one more you can do as well. If you specify a number to be a text, Excel will treat that number as text and it won't perform any relevant formulas or functions with that number because it will only treat it as text. Okay? Okay, so thanks for watching, everyone. What I would like you to do, if you're one of my learners, you'll have access to this spreadsheet, and I want you to complete the tasks in the editing and formatting spreadsheet file. And thanks a lot.